Hey everyone, welcome to part 2 of my cosine rule video, and if you haven't seen part 1, I go into the cosine rule, so I explain what it is and how to apply it, including how to label your triangle. I also go over an example of how to find the side length of a triangle. In this video, I'm going to go over an example of how to find an angle within a triangle, because it's a slightly different process and it's a bit hard to isolate the angle sometimes, so I'm going to explain that. So as again with part 1, we're going to label our triangle, and I'm just going to label angle X A, capital A, so that means the opposite length is going to be a lowercase a, and then I'll do the same with B and C. Now here's our image we used last time from Don Stewart Blogspot, and I'm not affiliated as I said before, but I think this is a really great picture to explain what form of the cosine rule we're going to use, and they're all the cosine rule, they're just rearranged differently for different purposes. Now if you remember, we're looking for capital A or X in our case, so we're going to use cos of A is equal to b squared plus c squared minus a squared all over 2bc. Now if you're confused by anything I've done so far, definitely watch part 1 because I go into a lot more detail of how to get to this point. But if you've already seen it, let's carry on with our example. So the next thing we need to do is start subbing in our values. So angle A is the same as X in our case, so that's going to equal b squared plus c squared minus a squared on top, which is going to be 10 centimeters squared plus 7 centimeters squared minus 15 centimeters squared. We're literally just subbing in those values all over 2bc, which is 2 times 10 centimeters times 7 centimeters. Then we go to our next line, which is us just kind of expanding it out a bit. We're just kind of multiplying it, just making it a bit simpler form. So cos of X is equal to 100 centimeters squared plus 49 centimeters squared minus 225 centimeters squared all over 140 centimeters squared. Now you can just simplify that out on your calculator, so that's going to be cos of X is equal to minus 76 centimeters squared over 140 centimeters squared. Next thing we can do is cancel out the centimeters squared, because centimeters squared divided by centimeters squared is 1. Anything divided by itself is 1, so you can just cancel those out. Now this is going to be the new bit or slightly different bit that you might not have seen before, and what you want to do is encapsulate both sides with cos to the minus 1. So if you do something to one side of an equation and do it to the other side, it's fine because the equals value is going to stay the same. So if you see on your little calculator, you have a shift button, mine's in yellow, and you can see the cos key. There's a cos to the minus 1. That's the function we're going to be using. So on our left hand side, when we do cos to the minus 1 of cos X, this cancels out to just give us X on the left hand side, which is great because that's what we want. And on the right hand side, we just do cos to the minus 1 of minus 76 over 140. You can use this on your calculator by doing shift cos to minus 1 and literally just putting that value in. So on our left hand side, we're going to be left with X, and on our right hand side using the calculator, it's going to be 122.8783496 degrees. Simplified to one decimal place is just going to be 122.9 degrees. So it's really as simple as that. If there's any little nuances or things you want to know more about, leave a comment down below. I appreciate this one was a bit more rushed, I guess you could call it, or quicker, but that's just because I explained the basic principles in part 1. But if I missed anything out, or if you want me to explain anything, or you want another video request from anyone, just leave a comment down below. I appreciate you watching and supporting the channel, and best of luck with your maths.